Ooh, here we go. Sweet. All right. Sweet. All right.
Hello, hello. Does it work now?
There we go. Cool.
You know.
All right. I got the live stream going. So whenever this also should, I think, once he's ready to start, I think it lets me where it's good. Live stream's working right now. I'll start recording on this as well, so that should give you like a third backup to or recording. So
No, this is okay. Do you want to wear the thing on your lapel?
Okay.
There you go. And a clicker. Can you have a clicker?
Testing.
Almost ready, Cindy. Almost ready. We're gonna pretend like that. Nobody knows.
Got them all mixed up, so.
Is this working? Okay.
there we go. That should be
BJ, he's
Well.
a audience member.
Is our USB? Oh, you have a Mac.
Hello?
It won't work.
Is your USB plug in anywhere?
No. I'll do it for him.
Sorry.
I'll just do it. It's okay. I'll just do it. We should use Cindy's. I knew it. Okay, are you ready, Cindy?
I'm ready.
Are you ready, Ron?
Tell me what to do.
We get Facebook Live going.
All right.
Ready, Max?
That one's good. And this one's good.
That's a yes?
Wait, once.
Cindy, are you gonna stand up there and introduce yourself? What am I doing? I'm talking.
Why don't you do that with the talking today? I can stand up there with you. Okay, good.
I don't feel like it.
Okay.
I'm in the mood today.
I'm ready back here.
You ready, Ron? I'll do that for you. You just let me know whenever you want me to hit it.
Okay.
So you can stand there and talk. You wanna go live? Okay.
You gonna do an introduction or?
Hi, everybody. We're here with Next Level Strategies. Big shout out to our sponsor, Master Services, and BJ Browning for letting us be here today. Thank you, BJ and Master Services, for always providing an educational facility, and thank you for everything you do in the community with real estate. We have a special guest speaker today. Rob Gregory is here. He's going to talk about his project, his 6-unit project, where he acquired a 6-unit property that needed renovating, renovated it, rented it, refinanced it, and then what his plans are in the future for it. So he's gonna tell us the good things, the bad things, everything that he learned. We'll just let him talk to us all about it. And then if you're on Facebook Live and you wanna send in some questions, we'll get those questions answered for you. Please feel free to do that. And if you're on YouTube, as well, please feel free to give us your questions and we'll get those questions answered for you. So here we go. Rob Gregory.
I don't wanna hold a microphone in my hand. Hi, everybody, I'm Rob. Let's see, jumping right into it. Happy Thanksgiving week, everybody. Started off, as an investor in 2008, 2009, bought some properties, was also managing a career. So, I was sort of an absentee landlord, for about 12 years. You know, I participated, but didn't really participate the way I should. And somewhere around 2022, decided to do the real estate thing full time. And it's true what they say, your network is your net worth. And I went to a meetup, just like this one, met some great people, had always struggled, had been struggling for years to access the equity in the properties that I already owned. Learned about DSCR lending, that's a whole nother story, and was able to access that equity. And again, going back to the network and meeting folks, I was able to meet people. I specifically targeted commercial realtors that had access to commercial properties because through learning and wanting to explore scaling my business, I learned that multifamily was kind of the way to go. Went to lunch with some of the best, absolutely amazing commercial brokers in town, and got hooked up with this property. It was sort of sent to me right as it hit the market. I was able to jump on it. I knew the property was right over the hill. It was the one, I call it the end piece of bread property. Everybody I know, every investor I know in Knoxville had looked at this property at one point or another. They all knew the property and none of them had bought it. But when I saw it, the guy that owned it had gone in and spent the money on the foundation. And that was the big problem. It looked like it was gonna slide off the side of the hill. So what I saw, I had a vision, sort of the diamond in the rough, and was able to kind of start looking at it. Look at it, got the offer in and made the purchase. I knew it was rough. I knew it had tenants I didn't want, and I knew that it was going to be a process to get through it. So, what am I at on my slides here?
So how did you determine what your purchase price offer was?
Really kind of fell in place. I knew the broker well enough that we just kind of said, hey, what are they going to take for it? And we made the offer and they accepted it. Got a hard money loan. We'll talk about mistakes that I made a little bit later, but I got a hard money loan. And what I decided to do was get the hard money loan for the refinance or for the financing and fund the renovation myself. When we got in there, let's see, next slide. Okay, there I am in front of it. Again, my end piece of bread there. It looks a lot different today. That's the day that I acquired it. And again, this was my first multifamily venture. So I was super excited about it. The value add strategy of going in and fixing it up, making the changes that needed to be made, and also raising the rents. This property, when I got it, the rents were undervalued or under market. It had had some renovations, but they weren't great. They all needed work. We'll get into that, and I think I've got some pictures in here where we'll show that. The tenants just weren't up to par. Just not the target population that I had in mind, and it just needed a lot of work. But the bones were good. As I said, the foundation had been fixed. So we got in there, and let's see, next slide. See if we've got some. Really, the things that were outdated. Once we got in there, we had 5 of the 6 units occupied. So we jumped in the vacant one, renovated it. When we pulled the floors up, we found hardwood. We were super excited. Well, it turns out the hardwood was ruined, and we ended up covering it with LVP. We found a lot of rotten floors, and when we found the floors, we decided to go in. A friend of mine, who again I met through networking, said, fix everything so you don't have to touch it for at least 10 years. So we tore the floors out, and we found the old cast iron plumbing, and we tore all that out. We went back with PEX. All the sewers, we went back with PVC. And then we put new subfloors and then new LVP in every single unit. After that, we got that one renovated and occupied, and I had another tenant who abandoned the property. But it was kind of interesting because I went by and there was a guy, my guys were there working, renovating. It doesn't show in the picture, the patios are concrete and they had sagged, and we had to jack them up and put beams underneath them. But there was a guy that was staying in this apartment. And I went and talked to him. I said, hey, where is so-and-so, the tenant? He said, oh, she left. I said, where'd you go? She hasn't been here for 4 days, but she might come back. She wasn't answering her phone. He gave me another phone number. I was able to get a hold of the tenant. Turns out this guy was basically squatting in the apartment. And it was kind of a tense situation. So I had to, I had a lock set. I was going to change the locks, just get him out of there. And I was fortunate I went back and he wasn't there. So I was able to change the locks, and apparently he showed up a couple days later and got arrested. But we were able to take that apartment over. I talked to the tenant. She forfeited it, and we got out of it, and I was able to get in there and fix that one up. When we got that one fixed up, some other tenants in one of the other units said, well, our bathroom floor is like wavy. And I went in there, and the floor, I thought I was gonna fall through it. So we were fortunate, we had a vacant unit renovated, and I offered them, I said, hey, you know, we'll move you to this vacant unit, and that way we can get in here and fix this, because we can't fix this with y'all in here. And they were cool with that. We kept the rent the same. But that's one of the important things to talk about is, you know, I needed to bring the rents up to market. And so when I initially moved in, I was fortunate everybody was on a month-to-month lease. So within 6 weeks of buying the property, I was able to bump those rents just a little bit, and slowly increase it to market rent. So we moved them in, we got in their apartment. Again, we were kind of playing, what is it? Musical chairs with the apartments, moving people in and out and getting things done. But we got the full renovation done. So next slide. Again, you know, removing the flooring. There was one of the kitchens where we found 7 layers of flooring. They had taken bad subfloor, put new subfloor over it, and then there were 4 layers of linoleum, LVP. I think there was something else. There was something else in there, but I had a slide. I don't think it's in here, of me holding up a section of about like that was all the sections of flooring. It was sort of like an archaeological excavation. And again, we replumbed the whole thing. I've got lots of slides about replumbing. So, let's do the next one. Anyway, as we went through the process of renovating properties, we were also advertising. This property is unique in that it has garages underneath the apartments. All the garage doors were damaged, so we had to have all those replaced. Got those cleaned up, and again, it was just constant renovation, changing things, finding things, and then the more we dug, the more we found. That's one of my guys in the floor. This is interesting because this had been since the, if you'll notice on the picture, I don't know how well you can see online, but where his head is, the floor joist ends for the sewer pipe coming up, and then it begins again. It had been that way since the building was built in 1952. When the plumbers came in to put the plumbing in, they literally just cut the floor joist. They didn't box it or anything, and left it that way. So we found lots of neat little things like that where my guys could go in and box it in, and I was fortunate to have a great crew working on this. The air ducts also in the garages, I don't know who did the work, but there was one where there were 8 air ducts and they went this way and that way and that way, but they were twisted around. I literally had 2 air ducts that looked like candy canes or something, that we had straightened out as well. So, next slide. So we had to reinforce all the joists, well, not all of them, some of them. And then we rebuilt all the subfloors, and then went back, like I said, with new subfloor, new LVP, and all new appliances. Again, looking at it as what do I need to do to this property so I don't have to touch it for 10 years, and hopefully the plumbing won't have to be touched for another 50 years. On the front side, you can see where the patios are. That's new wood. all of that wood underneath there was rotten, so we had to tear it out and rebuild it. And in the process of rebuilding it, we jacked the concrete up to make it more level. And then the fascia, the stucco fascia was completely destroyed, so we had it redone. Shout out to my buddy Andy Knowles, if you can see in the picture, the Rent Me sign. Dumpsters of East Tennessee is the best dumpster service in East Tennessee, so yeah. But we got the garage doors upgraded and got everything kind of starting to look nice there. The interior renovations, again, it was new kitchens, new flooring, new paint, and we really dug into it. We wanted to take out everything that was bad, to include 7 layers of flooring or 8 layers of flooring. You can see where, again, we scraped up a lot of floor, and then all new appliances. Again, looking to get them fixed up so we don't have to touch them for 10 years. The other thing is, you know, housing can be a competitive market. What I found is when I fix things like this, people walk in and they say, wow, you know, they're used to looking at apartments with used appliances, junky appliances, dirty walls, and when they walk in and it's all nice and new, they appreciate it. And then they also take care of it better and they leave it better. So that's one of the things that I found as we've had move outs in the past couple months. You walk in and everything, you know, you need to clean it and that's it. So repair, it helps keep repair costs down long term. Talking about the under market rents, again, I did sort of 3 increases to get rents up to market. After the rent increases, we went from, I think they were at $925 up to $1,100, and once we got to $1,100, which is market right now, for those, we ended up having 2 of the original 5 tenants still there. One abandoned the property. That was the squatter removal that I got lucky on and avoided what could have been, I think, a very uncomfortable confrontation. And then another broke her lease and eliminated herself. But, you know, again, we were able to shuffle the tenants around, the one tenant, and then get new tenants in there, which was great. So. And then after the renovation, and once we got it full, there were a couple things that I didn't think about with a multifamily. You know, my background is single family homes. I own a couple duplexes, and I had renovated those before. But, and of course, you know, some of the expenses, you know, landscaping and pest control, I was used to. I had done that. But in the city, garbage service is not, you know, if you live in a house, you get a city trash can. But if it's a multifamily, the landlord has to pay for it. So the first month or so, I guess, well, no, because the seller forgot to cancel the contract. So 3 months after I purchased the property, the trash stops picking up. I don't know what's going on. And I called the city and I said, hey, you guys aren't picking up my trash. Well, it turns out that I had to pay for it. So that was just an unexpected expense. It's not a big deal. But it was kind of funny to get a call from the tenants and say, hey, the trash is piling up, and go over there and see how horrible it was. But, you know, Waste Services was great to deal with, and they came out and got everything picked up. So.
Did you have a landscaping service?
Yeah, landscape was just one of the things that kind of goes along with multifamily properties. You know, single family homes, yeah, I usually you know, don't have to have a landscaping service. It's expected that the family takes care of it. But with the multifamily, I had to get in touch with my landscaper, and that was just another expense. Now this one, this property is unique because it's on a bank, and the entire bank behind the property is covered in kudzu. And if I don't keep up with it, the kudzu will grow up over the power line and onto the property. So I have to stay on top of my landscapers to keep it cut back and sprayed at least monthly. So.
And how's the pest control going?
Pest control's fine. You know, I've got a service contract. They go in and spray every month. It's not a big deal. So, the lessons that I learned. I mentioned in the beginning, I chose not to finance my renovation costs. When you do a hard money loan, you can choose to finance your hard money, or a hard money loan, you can choose to finance your renovation costs or not. And I chose not to. I thought, oh, I can do it. You know, I'd estimate repair was $40,000 to $50,000. We ended up spending just over 60. But I thought, you know, I just do that myself. So while I was doing that, I was using my cash flow from my other real estate, my other income, to do the renovations, which put me in a position where I was using personal credit cards for. Sorry, the lights just went out over here. I was using my personal credit cards for expenses and stuff. And as those balances went up, my credit score went down. So fast forward, it took me about a year to get the full renovation done and everything, to refinancing time, and my credit score was lower. And it was really, 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 really challenging to get the refinance done. I was lucky to have Brenda to work with, who farmed me out to a whole bunch of banks, and we got the deal done. The other thing about that, though, is it's costing me more money in the long run. And that's a lesson that again, people had mentioned, hey, use business credit cards, but nobody explained to me that, you know, and I'm not advocating running up credit card balances or anything like that, and I'm not advocating use credit cards, but if you're going to, nobody, you know, told me that, hey, business credit cards won't hurt your credit score as long as you keep them paid, and the balances don't necessarily show up when they run your credit report. It's not that you don't want to report those balances or that debt, but it doesn't affect your score. So that was one of the things that I learned the hard way, as I learned most things the hard way. So yeah, let's see, what other stuff did I run into? I learned a lot about renovation. I really enjoy the renovation process, going and buying materials, and having having my guys go in and make everything nice. Everybody asks me, oh, do you do your own work? And I say no. A, I'm trying to buy my time. B, I can do the work, but they can do it better. I want it to last 10 years, and if I did it, it might last 2. So, I'm trying to think. Brenda, what other challenges did I run into? What am I missing? What am I forgetting?
Well, you already mentioned that you went over budget on the renovation. Did you do a scope of work to start?
We did, but the scope of work was kind of difficult because there were so many things that we didn't see, that we didn't know. The property had interior renovations that were decent, but again, I think I'm not a perfectionist, but in the vein of make it nice, keep it nice, and not do the repair, and not have to do a lot of repairs down the road. You're saving yourself future repair costs. We ended up digging and finding more. There was probably some stuff we didn't have to fix. We could have left, but you know, just the cast iron sewer that had been there since 1952. It was still draining the building, but I just didn't feel, I mean, we're in there, it didn't feel right to leave it, and it wasn't that much more to run a new sewer pipe, and that won't be clogged in my lifetime. So, God, I hope not. What would that take?
When you were considering financing the rehab or not, would you, if you could go back and do it again, would you have financed the rehab and kept your cash for the excess?
Yeah, financing my rehab, honestly, that was a bonehead mistake. I didn't know necessarily. This was my first multifamily, jumping into a multifamily. And so the reason that was a mistake was, you know, they talk about use other people's money, and I used my own. And that put me over a barrel on the other side that I didn't even know existed. So yeah, did I answer the question?
Yes, so you would refund, if you had to do it over again, you would have draws where you could draw against.
Not if I have to do it over again. When I do it over
Uh-huh.
again. And I used the guys at Approach Lending, by the way. I'm going to plug them real quick because they were awesome to work with. They helped educate me on the lending side of things and deal with some of my hard-headedness, I guess we'll say, and ignorance. So they were really patient and great to work with. But yeah, when I do it again, I will absolutely 100% finance 100% of the rehab. That way I can keep my cash flow going and in my pocket. And then all that gets paid back on the back end, when the project is done.
And
Another
that might have
thing,
kept you out of the credit cards altogether.
do what?
Would you have needed the credit cards if you'd have done it that way?
No, I have a 0 credit card balance right now. So, so yeah. And then another thing that I'm very fortunate, I mentioned it a couple times, is I'm lucky I have a good crew. One of the hardest things to find is a good crew. It seems like, you look for 3 things when you have a crew. Reliability, they're gonna show up when they say they're gonna show up. Good work. It doesn't have to be museum style work, but good work, stuff that's gonna stick around a while and looks good. And then a reasonable price. And if you can get those 3 things at any time, if you find those people, you gotta hold on to them. And I was really fortunate to find this group of guys that does my work for me, and they did a fantastic job. Crawled in crawl spaces and pulled out plenty of plumbing. So I was really lucky to have them and to have found them. And again, I found them through my network. The same person who said, build it so you don't have to touch it for 10 years. These guys had done some work for him and he sent them my way. So it's who you meet and who you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what kind of networking do you do to know these people?
Networking, I go to a lot of coffees. I like coffee, so that's a good thing. I'm always looking for people to smoke a cigar with. So if you're ever down for a cigar, I'm your man. That's my favorite way of networking. I go to local meetups, and then, like I said earlier, one of the things that I did that was really smart. Even a blind hog finds a nut now and then. Was I went to lunch with commercial brokers, and I networked with commercial brokers. So when they had stuff come up, apartment complexes come up, they sent it to me because they knew I was looking. Yeah.
I want to ask you a little bit more about that. Is that okay? How
Yeah.
you picked that property? Why did you pick that property that everybody had passed on? You call it the.
Everybody had passed on it in the past because of the foundational problems. And the person who owned it when I bought it had gone in and fixed the foundation. He hadn't done anything else. Actually, the renovations, the poor renovations that were done 2 owners before I owned it, if I'm not mistaken. And a little bit of funny history about this property since I've owned it. It's in Fountain City, and the guy who was doing the work for me stopped me in the first couple days. He said, "Rob, I got in a fight in this parking lot." He's 10 years older than I am, by the way, which is really old.
31.
Really old. But he said, "I got in a fight in college in this parking lot over a girl." He was in a party in one of those apartments. I've heard about lots of other things that went on in this apartment complex, and it seems like everybody I know has a story about this apartment complex. So yeah, that's been a lot of fun to hear. But no, everybody had passed on it because the foundation wasn't done, and
Who did the foundation work? Do you know?
if you hadn't asked me, I could have told you.
Did the warranty transfer to you from who done it?
No, it's a local company. They don't do a lifetime warranty, but they stand by their work, is what I was told. And from what I understand, that's true. I've actually run into them a few times at Lowe's and stuff, and they're really good guys. Let's talk about the refinance. The refinance was interesting because not only were we struggling with the issues that I created, but part of the refinance was an appraisal. And it's important to talk about this because I purchased the property for $550,000 and I put 60 to 70 in it. So I was in it for just over 6, plus all the interest that I paid the hard money lender. And when we found somebody that was willing to work with me as far as getting the loan, we had to get an appraisal, and the appraisal came back, and it came back great. It came back at 1.1. Which is exactly what we were looking
You're
for.
talking about the appraisal after the renovation.
After the renovation, the appraisal came back at 1.1. But this lender wanted a second opinion, and they ordered what's called a BPO, which is a broker's
Broker price opinion. Broker price opinion.
broker price opinion. I always say professional opinion. I don't know why I get that mixed up. But anyway, and I don't know how to say this. The way that they do BPOs is they farm it out to anybody that'll take it. and the person that did my BPO was not a commercial broker, didn't have commercial experience, pulled comps that weren't in the area, and weren't really comparable properties, and actually appraised it at the price that I purchased the property at prior to renovation. And what that created a huge nightmare. And again, I got to give a shout out to the folks at Approach Lending, because when that happened, they were willing to work with me and extend the loan so I could go ahead and order a second appraisal to get done so we could close down. The second appraisal came in just like the first one with a commercial appraiser that knows what they're doing.
But that was stressful.
It was, and it was really stressful also when the commercial appraiser was given a certain timeline to do their appraisal, and we had a closing date set up. That again crossed the first of the month. Payments are due at the first of the month, and the appraiser didn't get it done in time. And the mortgage company contacted him. The company that the mortgage company contracts with to get the appraisal done contacted him, and he basically didn't care. But he eventually got it done, and we got to close the deal.
Yeah, but every day you were pretty torn out.
Oh, it was nerve wracking. I thought I was going to lose the property and everything that I had put into it.
Yeah. But
So,
the hard money lender worked with you. So.
absolutely, yeah. So yeah, my all-in cost was, I think 650 is probably a good estimate. It appraised at 1 million. Cash flow is about 1,000 a month right now, which isn't ideal, but it cash flows, and I fixed everything that was gonna well, knock on wood, that might go wrong with it. So overall, it was a great deal. You know, I increased my net worth significantly, and you know, one of the reasons I do this, the picture didn't make the slides, but there's a picture of me and my daughter in front of that building. And the reason I do this is for her, her and my son, you know, creating that generational wealth and hopefully teaching them something in the process.
So you were all in on 700, and now you have a property worth 1.1 million.
Yes.
Did you put all of your capital back into your pocket? Did you pull all the cash back out?
No, I left some in there. Part of that was because I had to. The bank didn't want to do 100% loan to value.
No, they don't do that.
No, they don't. So yeah, but what I did do was, you know, as soon as I got the refi done, I was able to pay back all the debt. The hard money lender got paid back, and literally within, you know, 36 hours of closing, all the debt that had brought my credit score down was gone. And you know, again, so now I'm kicked off for my next deal, and I'm actively hunting my next multifamily. So yeah, the lessons learned: finance and rehab up front. When you talk to a hard money lender, use other people's money. Borrow money from friends. I actually did that. You know, I hit a couple friends up. You know, once I figured that out, I actually figured that out before the end of the renovation. And I have a couple friends who lend money on the side, and I hit them up and said, "Hey, can I borrow a little bit of cash?" And that helped fund some of the last minute sort of renovation things. We did a handrail on this property that I'm immensely proud of. Oh, we don't want to restart. Don't use personal credit cards, period, ever, never, ever, never, ever. Fix everything right the first time. Do it so you don't have to touch it for 10 years. Again, I've said that probably 15 times in this presentation, but it's so important because again, you get better tenants, your maintenance costs are lower, and then networking, and your network is your net worth. You know, everything I've done, every deal I've done in the past 3 years has been through people that I've met through networking, whether that's going to networking events, inviting people to lunches, having cigars with people, and having coffee. So yeah, literally all my businesses come through that. So yeah. Questions?
Yeah, I want to go back to the beginning so we can just kind of go through it and see who has questions. And we're going to ask some questions. Cindy, do we
I
have-
wish some of those pictures had come through on that.
Yeah, they did not get in there, so.
How long did it take you to be fully occupied after reno?
Oh, I stayed occupied. As I renovated, I rented. So I had the one vacant. I got somebody in there as soon as it was renovated. Then I had the lady who abandoned the property with the guy with the squatter, and I moved these people in there, and then I jumped on theirs, and I got it done, and I got it occupied. And then the lady at the end broke her lease. So we got in there and we renovated hers. And that one we found a lot of surprises in. That's where the joist was cut and in the floor and everything. And then she moved out, so we got that one done and got it rented. And then the person in the last one that we were to renovate, there's actually one apartment that the lady has been there the whole time since I've owned it. It has not been renovated. She's still living there in the old renovations. But in order for us to do the renovation, she would need to move out. And I mean, we don't want to kick her out. So she's a great tenant. So, yes, sir.
Why multifamily, not single family?
Multifamily is easier to scale. Also, it's easier to repair. I mean, you got one roof. You've got just one building to deal with as opposed to 20. So I've got 6 tenants, all under one roof. If something happens, it's just one thing to fix. It's just easier, and it's easier to scale. Also, commercial lending and commercial properties are completely different. Something else I learned is that, like, the roof on this property is kind of wonky. Back in the day, they used, I think, 1x4s as opposed to sheathing. So I have a virtually new roof, but it looks really funny. On a single-family home, the appraiser comes out and they sees that, and that may detract from the value. On a commercial property, really the value of it is based on the money that it makes and the income, and that was a huge learning thing. Something I learned through this process, which was really cool. And I learned that through my network, through the mastermind. I'm a member of my tribe mastermind, and I can't say enough about that group of folks because the information that I gained there helped me through this process.
Back to that, so do you have any ideas or plan for increasing your cash flow so that you can increase the value of the property? Because I just heard you mention something about the value of the property now is the income,
Yes.
so maybe a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I plan on, a lot of the tenants don't use the garages, so I'm actually gonna rent them out separately to create cash flow. I've also added them as sort of an add-on, so if a tenant moves in apartment 1 and they want to use the garage for apartment 1, they have the garage that they can use. But if they're not using it, I'm renting them out separately as storage spaces. And that just helps with cash flow. I've got to get all my stuff out of one of them so I can get it rented out. So.
And what does increasing the cash flow do for the cap rate?
Yeah, you skunked me.
What do you think, Richard?
So I mean, if you were to increase cash flow, you're at $1,000 a month right now. If you were to
Yeah.
increase it by another 1,000 a month, so 12,000 a year, 12,000 a year at a 6.5 cap is $185,000 in value.
That's
So you go from 1.1
What he
to
said.
1.28.
Yeah.
So if you could get when you get the cash flow up,
Yeah.
you increase the value of the property and you hold it, how long are you gonna hold it?
5 years.
And then what are you gonna do with it?
I don't know yet. We'll see what the market's doing. I got 5 years to decide.
Why 5
So-
years?
Huh?
Why 5 years?
Because the loan I'm on has a 5-year prepayment penalty.
Oh, okay.
Is it a 5-4-3-2-1 or is it?
5. Yeah.
Nice.
Remember that bad credit score I mentioned?
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
recall. Yeah.
It was really good that we got it
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, Brenda had to do a lot of work to make this happen.
She
Yeah.
makes magic happen.
So, yeah,
Okay, so if you get the cap rate up, then you might sell it based on the cap rate then.
yes. I don't think I can raise rents right now.
Why not? Why not?
Market. My competition is lowering theirs. So, any questions from folks online?
I'm not seeing any. Do you see any on YouTube?
Anybody else in the room have questions?
Do you manage your properties?
I do. I self-manage. I have a VA that helps me keep up with all the work orders and everything and the rents and the bookkeeping and all the stuff I don't like to do. But then I do go out and I manage myself. I do all the showings myself and stuff like that, so.
I'm still curious why this property out of all the multifamily properties you could have purchased.
Oh, you say all the multifamily properties I could have purchased, but they're not exactly, falling out of the sky and hitting you on the head. And this one, I mean, it came up, the numbers made sense. I mean, they made sense very quickly. I was able to look at it and see the value immediately. Being that the foundation had been fixed. Had the foundation not been fixed, it might have been a different story. I might have walked away from it. But being that the foundation had been fixed, yeah, it just made sense.
What did you say you bought it for?
$550.
Yeah, we walked away from it at $350 when the foundation was not fixed.
Yeah, yeah.
Which, if I'd known it was gonna be worth 1.1 million, I probably would
Yeah.
have fixed the foundation.
Listen, if I could go back.
I'm
Yeah.
curious what's wrong with foundation.
Do what?
I'm just curious what's wrong with foundation now.
Had a, so there's a, if you see that first picture that was up there, 'cause I don't even,
Yeah.
Bob, did you ever even see what was wrong with it? 'Cause
I saw what was wrong with it after, I've seen the repairs, so, it was basically the whole building was sliding off the garages.
So the back wall of the garages is, basically supporting the building itself.
Yeah.
And it was bowed out in the middle, probably 6 to 8 inches. I mean, it was damn near, the block, you could almost see the back of the bottom block. I mean, it was bowed.
Did they rebuild or did they?
That I don't know.
They rebuilt some, we've got some steel in a couple of the garages, so, I'm sorry?
That's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, we've got some steel in a couple of garages. They did some concrete repair in some others. There's some new framing up top. There is some new block in certain spots. But yeah, it looked bad enough when I bought it, just with the garage doors and the front of it and the paint and everything like that. If I had seen it bowed out 6 inches, I might have passed on it. So, and I know that the guy before me actually saw, see, it's already been repaired there. But the guy before me, I know he spent, I want to say it was $50,000 or $60,000 getting the foundation fixed.
Yeah, it's a $200,000 difference. I
Yeah.
was really concerned.
Yeah.
It was also 5 years earlier.
Oh.
I mean, it was maybe even, Sarah, do you remember when it was? It was probably 2018, something like that. So I mean, at the time, it being priced at $350 was the same as it being priced at $600-700 now. I mean, it was, a long time ago.
Did it sit on the market for a long time?
No, it had been through probably 3 owners in that time.
Oh.
Yeah, actually the guy who did the work for me knew the guy that was 2 owners prior, and he had done renovations for him, and he's like, I refuse to work for him the way he does renovations with putting old materials in and stuff like that. So, and not making things nice and doing
So
quality
nobody had
builds.
really stepped in to make the necessary repairs for it to
Yeah,
hold its value long term.
exactly.
So what's your favorite part of the whole process, other than cash flow at the end?
Yeah, getting the check when I refi. No, I love the renovation process. I love going to Lowe's or Home Depot and getting a bunch of materials and having delivered and watching it become something, watching my vision come to life. Like I said, there's not a good picture in this slideshow of the new handrails. We took the balusters and the white off and we went back with hog wire and just natural wood 2x6s and
Oh, nice.
stuff like that, and it just looks amazing. Super proud of that, and then the insides too. When you go to show a property, I said something about this earlier. When you go to show, one of your properties, and and people walk in and they go, "Wow," and that makes such a difference. It makes a difference in them wanting to rent it, but it also makes a big difference. It just feels good. It's just they see my vision, and my vision is attractive to them. So, yeah.
Do you think they'll stay long term?
I've had some turnover. I've noticed that some of the tenants are wanting, like I've got a young couple. They just had a baby. Well, that's 3 people in a 1 bedroom. They probably won't stay. I had an older couple who worked things out, and they moved into it, they rented a house down the street, because they wanted a house with a yard where the grandbabies could come play. So people outgrow them, is what I'm seeing. But then I've got tenants that will stay a long time because that's all they need.
Are you doing 12-month leases or month-to-month leases?
12-month only. Yeah, 12-month only, and I do 12-month leases on the garages too.
Mhm.
And the reason that I do that, honestly, on the garages is it's more attractive to the banks. So at this point, I might do a month to month if it was somebody that I really knew and just needed some temporary storage space. But you know, for the purposes of refining and for the audience out there, banks like to see 12-month leases. They want to know that the income is locked up.
How often do you inspect your units?
About monthly. I have guys go by. You know, there's always some sort of small maintenance issue going on. So they check on things. We haven't implemented an air filter replacement system yet, but you know, with this one, it's been easy to go and check on it because the appraisals needed pictures, the appraisals needed this, the appraisals needed that. So I was in and out all the time. So, and again, I can't say enough about tenant screening as well. You know, you get a nice property, you fix it up nice, you screen your tenants. You don't have to worry. I went in one of the properties where, you know, it's a young lady living there by herself, and you know, you never know what to expect. Neat as a pin. And I had one of my maintenance guys. He went in a property to replace a microwave, and he called me afterward, and he told me, he said, "Rob, I'd eat off the floor in that house. They just keep it just so clean." So yeah.
We have a question from Facebook.
Okay.
Jeffrey Flanagan says, speaking of your vision and it coming to life, no wait, I meant to read the other one. You might have said this already, but how much bigger do you want to go on your next multifamily?
Ooh, that's a good question. If funds were unlimited, I'd buy 500 units tomorrow. I wouldn't hesitate at all to buy a large multifamily. I'm not scared of it. I'd have to hire some help, but at 500 units, you can afford to hire some help. That's the whole point. I am currently looking, probably a 10-plex is probably what I'm in the market for right now. But, you know, I mean, if I can find it and the money works out, you know, I'm not scared to jump into anything. Or if I have any partners that find anything that's huge that they need help taking down.
Are you
So-
interested in partnerships and private money lending?
Absolutely, partnerships, private money, hard money. I am actively looking for properties. I am not locked into the Knoxville area. In fact, earlier today, I was gonna be going to Dayton to look at a 10-plex, but it had already sold. And I'm looking for land for new construction. And I've even thought about doing some double wide mobile homes on permanent foundations. I've heard that those might be a profitable business venture.
So
Is this-
the other question from Jeff is, are there any renovations you would have done differently on that?
On this particular building, we talked about it earlier, I would have liked to have been able to, and there's just not space in the unit, but to put in-unit laundry. You know, that's one thing that I absolutely would have done. And per discussion the other day, I'm still considering finding a way to have laundry facilities on property. As far as what we actually did, I also have learned with the LVP, the LVP product that I was using, if I spent just a little bit more money, the difference in the quality of the feel of the LVP. I'm doing a renovation right now, and I just, you know, it wasn't like, oh, I want to spend more money or get a nicer product or anything. It was just, honestly, it was supporting a friend's business. I went to them and I ended up spending more per square foot on flooring, but I'm willing to do that to support small business and my friend's business. But the difference in price versus the difference in quality in the flooring was amazing. I was like, well, okay, never mind. I'm sold on more expensive LVP from now on.
Yeah.
So, but that's the only thing I changed as far as this renovation.
I have a question about property management.
Yes.
So, who have you learned from to be a better property manager?
Ooh. Sarah Gamble.
The great Sarah Gamble.
Definitely.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, yeah. She is, I think the word is tenacious.
Yep.
So she's tenacious, and very knowledgeable. So yeah, another member of the tribe, of the mastermind, and the people that I surround myself with.
Does Sarah have a property management platform where she teaches people to be better property managers?
Last I heard, she was working on a course, but I don't know if it's online yet.
Shameless.
So.
Love it.
Yeah.
Is it online, sir?
I think it's in process.
I think it's in process too.
Yeah. How long's it been in
Maybe for
process?
Christmas,
Has it
we'll
been in
have a
process a
glory day.
while?
I played the fifth.
To all the folks online, this is her husband over here, pleading the fifth. So, yeah. No, for property management, and I manage my own properties from, oh gosh, 2009 until today. I had a property management company briefly, and
Why don't
it
you
was a
use-
nightmare. It was
Why
a
don't
night-
you, that's what I was gonna say, why don't you use a property management company?
They suck. I haven't found a property management company that's worth it. The repairs that are done aren't up to snuff. I had one management company that was managing my properties, and their maintenance guy or contractor guy bid a job. He went in and he did the work, and then he billed them for twice what he told me it was going to cost, and I had it all in an email. But then when I got my statement that month, I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? Was supposed to be, I think it was $800, and he charged $1,600. And the property management company didn't refund me, even though I had it in email. He didn't refund the property management company, and then I noticed on another month that he was buying tools. Like they gave him a company Lowe's card, and anything he charged got billed to whichever owner's account it was. But he was going to Lowe's and he was buying tools allegedly for the job, and then it was getting billed back to me. And my thing is, I don't have a problem with him buying tools to get a job done, but if he buys the tools and I pay for them, then they're my tools. And when I confronted the management company about that, I was told, well, we can't really monitor that. We don't have the resources or the manpower to monitor that. And that's when I was done with property managers. So, yeah, I will hire my own person to be my property manager before I hire a company. So, yeah. Other questions?
Anybody else? Question? Kids, you got any questions about real estate investing in multifamily?
No?
Would you do single family or multifamily?
Multifamily.
Why would you buy multifamily properties?
Instead of single family?
Because then you make more money.
Make more money. How?
Because,
What are the many advantages?
because there's more people in it.
Okay, what else?
One roof.
Yep. Anything else?
No.
Easier management.
Easier management.
Uh-huh. 1 yard. Yeah. I don't have to worry about mulching 20 yards and sending people everywhere. I also think there might be some tax benefits to multifamily.
Cost seg?
So, yep.
They
Cost-
wouldn't know if they don't, we don't pay taxes.
Do what?
She said they wouldn't know we don't pay taxes.
Hey, 2024, when I bought this property, was the first time in,
Ever?
no, since 2018. Well, yeah, 2018 was 2014 was the last time I had a W-2, and got a tax refund. 2024 was the first year buying this building and doing the renovations, that I avoided tax liability.
So even that year when you got a tax refund, was that just because you overpaid throughout the year, or did you
Yes.
actually still pay zero?
No, I overpaid throughout the year, because I had a W-2, and then I had the real estate too. So, and I'd love to go into detail just about accessing, again, network is net worth. I mentioned in the beginning, I had those properties and I was having a hard time accessing my equity. One meeting, my very first meeting at Knoxville's Best Real Estate Investor Meetup. I was sitting there and I was talking to folks and you know, I said to someone, I said, yeah, you know, I've got these properties, but I just, you know, I can't access my equity. And, you know, the banks would use DTI and then of course they would maximize my expenses on the properties, which may or may not have been realistic. And so somebody said to me, have you heard about DSCR? And that changed my life. That literally changed my life. I also have to plug Sonia Ford at Citizens Bank because she's the one who directed me to go to that meetup. And so indirectly or directly, she literally changed the entire trajectory of my life.
Wow.
So, yeah. Yeah, I give her a lot of kudos, and she's an amazing person. And if you've ever got a deal and you need an absolute star to work with, between Brenda and her, I mean, I'm covered. So, yeah.
If an investor needs a DSCR, they could call me. I
Yeah.
loved helping you. I loved helping somebody else. It was fun. Do you have anything else to add?
Not at all.
Can
So.
you leave some information on how people can reach you if they'd like to reach you?
I am on Instagram, The Robert Gregory. I have a Facebook, The Robert Gregory. I'm also Robert Gregory on Facebook. I have 2 accounts. So you can hit me up there. My email is rob@grei.llc.com. Sorry, that's rob@grei.llc.com. And I also want to take half a second, if we have another website up there. No, wait, hold on. Never mind.
Don't do it.
No,
Okay.
we won't talk about
You're the
that.
boss.
Present company. So, yeah.
Thank you, sorry.
No, it's okay.
All right, we-
You sure?
half of it.
No, here, let me.
Okay, all right.
You guys come
Guys, I have something else I've been working on. I want to share with y'all. So
We need to see, keep it brief. BJ needs to go.
there were kids in the room. So I became fascinated with AI over the summer, and a friend of mine had bothered me about using ChatGPT. So I got on ChatGPT, and now I love it and I use it. But I had this idea, and so now what I have done is I've started an AI company, and it's AI Caricatures LLC, and our first big project is Santa Chat. I have created a photorealistic AI Santa Claus. It's an app, and it will be on Google Play and the App Store. We're hoping to launch it Monday. We've had some technical delays working with Google, and I don't even know the proper terminology, honestly, to tell you what we're having a hard time with. The computer guys know that, but we should be launching, and what it is it's a real-time, real photorealistic Santa AI that establishes, you know, a relationship with your child. So if your child logs on to talk to Santa, he's going to say, "Hello, little Joey. How was your soccer game yesterday?" It is. We've made it kid safe, and it's going to be an excellent tool. Going back to my old career as a therapist for co-parenting, helping parents keep in touch with their kids, and also helping. I'm hoping help bring the holidays to deployed servicemen and women. So they can maintain their holiday connection with their kids, their younger kids who may be back home. So yeah, the kids will be able to have a chat with Santa 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's parental controls in there. We put so much into the development of it. I'm so excited to kick it off. And like I said, it should be on the App Store or Google Play Monday. So yeah, it's just in time for Cyber Monday.
All right.
So
Yay.
yeah,
Thank you, Rob. Thank
Alright.
you for being
thank
here.
you.
Thank
Cigar time.
Cigar 30 already?
Yes.
you. Woohoo! Oh.
Oh, sorry.
I can be on the
We
end
kind
of
of
it.
need to pack up because
Oh, come
your
on.
daddy needs to go home to the.
Come
Stop streaming.
Oh,
Hit me with a cat.